afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Craig here again. Just a quick update of what's on the bench and what I've been doing this last sort of few days. As you can see, I built the early Tamiya, the 1970s kit of the Panther Ausf A, which is not the first one apparently. It's D was the first one, then followed by A. Strange, but there you go. I just did the usual sort of thing, really. Nothing too special about it. Let's just zoom in a little bit if I can. Bring it in. Let's bring it in. There we go. There we go. That's better. As you can see, it's just a normal, I don't know, tricolour camouflage pattern. First thing I did the black and white technique underneath first, and then I sprayed the Tamiya dark yellow, which is XF60. So that was the base coat after the primer coat of the dark with the white highlights, which was NATO black and flat white. Then I used NATO brown and NATO green for the camouflage, and then I started to weather it. You can just make out the camouflage on the top. I wanted this one to look as if it's really been used, not abused but used. So it's quite not overly weathered, but I think it's just about right. As you can see, it's let's see if I can find a better light. This light is not correct, is it? I'll get a better picture of this light on. Is that better? Maybe that'll be better. Yeah, simple weather. I just used, I used to start after I'd done the base coat and camouflage. The first thing I do is I use, let me get it out. I use a filter. It may sound strange. Let me find it. As per normal, I'm all organised. Not. The first thing I use is a filter, and the filter is blue for dark grey, and it's a big. Let me see. There we go. So I actually cover the whole tank with that. Obviously I work it in, let it dry, and then after that I used a combination of just a black wash and a grey wash, and after that just more of a pin wash than anything else on top of that, just to break down the colour a little bit. Further say, sorry, my fault, I correct myself. After I did the blue grey filter, then I just went over with a black wash first, just a general wash over the top, let that settle and dry, and then I did a pin wash of NATO black, black wash again, and a grey wash. Just little pin washes here and there, nothing, just to bring out things, make things, as they say, pop, which is it worked quite well. It worked quite well indeed. And then I used, after all that had settled and dried, I started with the streaking and rusting. As you can see, it's quite heavily weathered. Let's see if I can get a better light on that. Okay, no, I don't know. Let's bring it across perhaps. Oh, this bloody lighting is terrible today. That's better. There we can see a bit better now. As you can see, I just, general weather. The figure wasn't with the kit, it's a figure I had from the Tank Crew at Rest of the Tamiya kit. It worked out quite well. The tore-offs I did myself because the ones were just plastic, and as soon as you touch them, trying to bend them, they just snap. A bit of fuel and oil spillage on the rear engine cover. Also, I had some PE for the covers, engine covers, which I think was one of the first tanks that my son actually bought me this for birthday. It just may have gone, and I've actually just built it. I thought I'd better because he's on his way home from America shortly, and I'd like to show him when he gets back. It's not quite finished yet. I've left the hatch door up. I have a good friend, Steve Moshering, who's going to give me some brass shells. Well, this is the cartridge out of the shell, so I'm just going to, as if we were throwing it out of the back of the thing, the hatch. So that's what's got to go, sort of couple of dotted here and there on the rear engine pull. The decals, I think it's, I can never pronounce this, Totenkopf, it's the SS Totenkopf, you know, tank division or whatever you want to call them, SS, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. But yeah, it's come out quite well for an old 1970s kit. I also lift it up without destroying anything. Let's have a look. I did actually, if you can see underneath, you can you really? If you can see underneath, I did actually filled in the gaps. I filled in the underneath, just with a bit of a foam board and cut it to shape, and that was it really. Just to, you know, hide the daylight coming through, just to bring it out slightly. I must put him in properly. He's not quite in properly yet, but yeah. So it came out really well. I say I did this with Jack. Jack did the same kit. He's never built a tank before, so I said, well, just try an old Tamiya kit to start with, and you know, he's done, considering he has never done a tank before, he's done a really good job, and it's all hand painted as well. There's no air gun and nothing, all hand painted, as I think you might have seen on one of his updates. But yeah, really good for the first attempt. I couldn't believe it when he said this is all done with just paintbrushing and hand. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's Jack. Yeah, it's definitely Jack. Jack Bellaby. I think I've pronounced that right. He's a nice young lad. He does a lot of the figure work, which is excellent figure work he does. If I can remember, I'll put a link into his YouTube channel at the bottom later on. And as far as the tracks are concerned, they're just the rubber band tracks, nothing different to anything I've ever done. Just weathered them with, so they're all rubber tyres obviously on them. So where have we gone again? Let me just bring this up here. Now that's better, isn't it? 100% better. Bloody hell. As you can see, all the wheels have been the rubber on their wheels, and just a light mud sort of coat. Nothing too much at all. My only problem with it is sometimes when you do these kits where the engine's supposed to be going in, the little engine, is the idler wheel and the drive sprocket sometimes tend to bend in because they're only on a plastic sprue thing, just the way you thread through. And sometimes they start to bend. Luckily these ones didn't, so but I altered it by taking the plastic pin out, and I found a little piece of metal, so just to make it a bit more, you know, strengthen it so it didn't bend. So as you can see better now, can't you, with the camouflage slightly, a lot better. So yeah, so for a 1970s kit, it's really quite. Oh, I've knocked the bucket off the back. There's the bucket. Let's put the bucket back on. There's the best per normal the Germans ever. You know, the old bucket on the back, don't they? So engine, you know, the exhausts are rusted and a bit of black weathering powders on the top of the exhausts. You know, it's just basic kit really. You know, it took about off and on. I've done it for last week. I would say the last week and a bit. I didn't really do too much last week. So I had my mum staying with us, so I didn't do much modelling at all. But I think it's come out rather well for an old kit. Really has. Quite happy with it. Quite happy with it. So that's that done. So I shall just move this out of the way, and I'll move on to the next thing that I've been doing, which is basically another group build between it's a three-way group build. I'll just pop this over here with Steve Mottram and Joe Bentley. We're all doing the T55, Mine's slightly different to theirs. Mine's just the old trumpeter kit. I think they've got a... what have they got? Takom. They've got a Takom kit. So obviously Takom's going to be, you know, a bit more expensive than the one I have. But it's coming along quite nicely. Let's show you how far I've got with it. So you say I did a kit review quite a bit ago on it. Let me just zoom out a bit. I think we're a bit too close. There we are. That's better. Yeah, so as you can see, I've just done finish this off this morning. The plough, you know, fairly straightforward. Nothing too much. Fairly went together quite well. You know, it's all ready to one side. Went really quite well. Really quite well. Nothing. Look at this bloody light. I really am going to have to really get something sorted on these lights. Yeah, it's worked out quite well. It really has. So that's the plough. Let me just maybe blink in light out of the way. Up there. Get a bit of light into it. That's better. And I did the wheels. They're all sprocket, the sprockets and the idler. They're all sanded. You know, take some of the burr off the outside, and it's just awkward because when you've got your connection point to the sprue gate, you've got this pattern obviously from the tyre, and you have to take it off, if you know what I mean, when you're taking it off. So you have to be very careful when you take it off. But we can soon hide that with a bit of mud. That's no problem. Sprockets. These sprockets weren't too bad actually. They were actually more on the inside. They were attached inside the actual thing, not onto the teeth, which is usual sort of thing. But they say they're quite detailed as well, you know. They've gone quite well, so they're all ready to go. And I started, I think I did the upper hole and obviously I did the lower hole. I'll just move this out of the way, see how far we've got. So the lower hole, I've got all the suspension arms on, and the little bits and pieces. These, all that's all done. So that's, you know, quite detailed again on the bottom. Just a shame we can't see it when it's all made up. So, you know, that's fairly straightforward. Put the rear plate in at the back, nice and level. Can't see now, can we? Terrible I am today. Nice and level. Worked out really well. So that's another part that I've done, and then I started on the top deck. First of all, there's a few holes you have to drill, but it shows you if you're drilling from the back because there's marks there on the back. I've done a few of the things on here. Put the fuel cans on, and I've sort of, if you can see, I'll bring it up to there, see better. I've made some fuel lines just out of wire. I don't know how accurate they are or not. I just thought I'd try doing something like that. Fuel wire into there, both of them. Did the engine covers. This is give you like a piece of square gauze, which is quite nice, and you just cut it to shape and pop them in. You know, very straightforward. You know, from the back on in the back of the plate and pop it on. Very straightforward. That's quite a nice little kit. And so I've got the front lights on, and the cage. Cage is a bit bent, but I managed to straighten it out best I can. So I can just do it as a bit of damage, couldn't we? It's not going to really affect it. And obviously we got the cover, which is not fastened on, he says. I think, oh yeah, I did fasten it because I don't want any crew on this one, I don't think, because it's doing a ploughing, so I don't want to be ploughing and the driver gets it all in his face as you go. So I decided not to have it open. There's a couple of little pinholes there by the light there, and I don't know what they're for at the moment. I know I have two blocks to go up here on each side of here for the snowplow to be attached to the key with the cable, but I don't know what these ones are for yet, so I'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, before I prime it and give it the black coat or whatever, I shall have to fill all those in. And there's a couple here as well and here. I think there's a couple of boxes to go on there. I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's one of them that maybe still, I think it's that one, that there's nothing to go on there, but I could soon find something. On the other side, obviously, we've got more of the toolboxes to go along here. Done the exhaust. That was fairly straightforward, and the part of the turret, these pieces here. So I have to sand them down because it wouldn't quite sit, you know, quite right, so it would stop the turret turning. So got a little bit more to do, which is on that corner there, just to make it a bit more, you know, flatter. Because it just wouldn't settle down for some strange reason. But that was only a 5-minute job. It's got a couple of little bits and pieces. Done the front fenders, they're on. Went on no problem at all. I think that's as far as I've got at the moment. What I've done as well also, I should just pop that over there, which I tend to do most of the times nowadays. See, I'll just show you the gorse first. So you get quite a big piece of gorse. You know, it's quite big. So that'll do for plenty of other kits. You know, if you haven't got any PE for anything like that, they used to be, I'll just put that away actually, I don't need it now. But there's plenty there to do, at least a couple of kits at least. Yeah, so one of the things I do actually do every time I build the kit is I always do the gun barrel. One of the first jobs I do, just to see how neat it goes together, and do I need to, obviously I do have to sand it. So this is going together quite well, but obviously you can see the, you know, I haven't done anything with it, I've just glued it together. So I'll run a line of extra fine up there and at the bottom of there. Leave that to settle a bit, and then we'll sand it with, I bought this last time from E-Models when I was down went to see Steve a few weeks ago, and I bought these. They're ideal, these little sandings, and you're going to, there's different, obviously different grits on them, and you know, as you can see they're quite flexible, so when you get your, we'll put the gun barrel now, want to sand it, you know, bends, so you don't get in a flat spot. You can go, it's ideal for you know, for gun barrels and fuselages on planes and things like that. But really, really nice, simple sort of thing to do. So that's another, you know, they're quite really nice to use, and so it does a good job. So that's as far as I've got with the T55. Nothing else to say. Oh yes, I'm going to meeting Steve, and we're going to the Telford model show. I've never been to a model show before, so I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to travel down tomorrow, stay the night at Steve's, and we'll go on Sunday. Apparently we'll maybe get some good deals on some kits later on in the day when they're starting to finish. I have an eye on a couple of things.
What have you been burning?
Just excuse me, my wife has just come in as I'm doing a video.
Oh, sorry.
I burned them papers, sweetheart, outside. Yeah, so I think that's as far as I've got. So I'll carry on with a bit more of that today. A bit more of the upper deck. We'll be doing that later on. Yeah, so I was saying about the show, the Telford show, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'll take my camcorder with me, and I'll record a few things while I'm there, and then I'll, when I get back, or maybe on Monday or something like that, Tuesday, I'll upload them to my channel. So I think that's where we are at the moment. Nothing else to say. So I'll just say this is Greg signing off. Thank you for viewing and taking the time to look at it. And if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. Thank you very much. So this is Greg signing off. Thank you for watching.